How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. Expert predicts looming economic collapse as BRICS nations unite against the dollar. Andy Shetman, CEO of Miles Franklin Precious Metals Investments, explained in a recent interview that the 5 leading emerging economies, Russia, Brazil, India, China, and South Africa, collectively known as BRICS nations, are consolidating against the dollar. He believes that since 2022, de-dollarization seems to be spinning much faster. He expects a large portion of the world to abandon the US dollar and also predicts a tsunami of inflation with rising inflation. He suggests that the interest rate set by the US Fed Reserve will continue to rise and a collapse in asset prices will soon follow. His opinion is similar to Lynette Zhang, chief market analyst of ITM Trading. They both think that the economic collapse is going to happen and that it'll be the time for the Great Reset to take place, with the central bank digital currencies being ushered in. He says that the US dollar was weaponized in 2022. As a result, de-dollarization seems to be spinning much faster. Miles Franklin, executive and money historian, believes that BRICS nations are coalescing against the dollar. All it would take, he said, would be for Saudi Arabia to stand up on the stage and declare that they're going to consider taking up other currencies for oil. And all of a sudden, bang, all the countries that had to hold dollars for the last 50 years no longer have an interest. If they start to dump dollars, then it would happen quickly, and you would have a tsunami of inflation hitting the shores of the West. That's when they would come in and roll out the new CBDC that gives them the cover to roll it in. Recently, Saudi Arabia has shown interest in joining BRICS nations, and the kingdom's finance minister Mohammed Al-Jadaan said that the recent World Economic Forum event that Saudi Arabia is opening to trading in countries other than the US dollar. In June of last year, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the creation of a new international reserve currency at the 14th BRICS summit. Rep. Tom Emmer says Fed must not create digital currency surveillance state. So kind of warning against what this previous article was kind of hinting at. Republican House Majority Whip Tom Emmer introduced legislation Wednesday seeking to bar the Federal Reserve from issuing a central bank digital currency directly to individuals, which he says would erode Americans' rights to financial privacy. Any digital version of the dollar must uphold our American values of privacy, individual sovereignty, and free market competitiveness. Anything less opens the door to development of a dangerous surveillance tool. Emmer previously introduced similar legislation in early 2022. The bill sought to require any digital currency developed by the Fed to be permissionless to ensure user privacy, and of course the bill was not passed. The Fed has previously publicly acknowledged that it is exploring the potential benefits and risks of CBDCs from a variety of angles, including research and experimentation. Though there appears to be some bipartisan consensus regarding the need for the United States to keep up with the emergent global trend, multiple American lawmakers, including Emmer, have voiced concern that the Fed or the broader US government could manipulate control over digital currency to gather sensitive transaction information previously held by private companies or unavailable due to the proliferation of cash. The bill introduced by Emmer today, the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act, would, in addition to prohibiting the Fed from issuing a CBDC direct to consumers, require the federal agency to consistently report to Congress about the status of its experiments with the digital currencies. Emmer's bill reportedly has support from 9 other Republicans, but no Democrats. Go figure, the party that says they're there for you doesn't want you to have financial freedom. NBA Top Shot NFTs are plausibly securities, judge rules in Dapper Labs lawsuit. The NBA Top Shot NFT moments unregistered. NBA Top Shot NFT moments unregistered securities. That's what a lawsuit filed against Top Shot creator Dapper Labs in 2021 alleges, and the judge apparently agrees. United States District Court Victor Marrero today denied Dapper's request to dismiss the suit, writing that the NFTs offered Dapper's platform indeed appear to satisfy the requirements of a security. That's a weird way. In his ruling, Marrero used the Howey test and determined that the NBA Top Shot NFT collectibles platform plausibly met the stipulations of a security. As a result, the lawsuit against Dapper Labs will move forward. Importantly, today's order only denied the defendant's motion to dismiss the complaint. It did not conclude the plaintiffs were right, and it is not a final ruling on the merits of the case, the spokesperson wrote. Courts have repeatedly found that consumer goods, including art and collectibles like baseball cards, are not securities under federal law. Dapper's statement continues, "We are confident in the same holds true for moments and other collectibles, digital or otherwise, and look forward to vigorously defending our position in court as the case continues." The judge ruling suggests that the plaintiff's arguments are reasonable, part because he describes the Flow blockchain as a private network as opposed to a public one like the Bitcoin blockchain. Dapper Labs would likely disagree with that assertion, however, as Flow is meant to be an open and permissionless network that has increasingly decentralized its pool of node operators. In late 2021, Dapper representatives asserted that Flow is now controlled by the community. The judge believes that there's sufficient evidence to suggest otherwise, however, and further points to Dapper's control over the NBA Top Shot platform itself, along with control over the underlying IP by the NBA and National Baseball Players Association. The ruling further points to statements by Dapper Labs regarding the market value of moments and the potential for Top Shot NFTs to maintain and even gain value over time. It also notes that in early 2021, when NBA Top Shots buckled under the stress of user demand, that NFT holders could not access the marketplace and sell their owned assets. So wouldn't that make Robinhood a security? However, Marrero is careful to not suggest that his view of NBA Top Shot would not necessarily apply broadly to all NFTs. Ultimately, the court's conclusion that Dapper Labs offered was an investment contract under Howey is narrow. Not all NFTs offered or sold by any company will constitute a security, and each scheme must be assessed on a case-by-case basis. Nearly 370 billion in Bitcoin has gone dormant. Bitcoin is largely not moving again, with the amount of dormant coins nearly at all-time high. According to blockchain analysis firm Glassnode, the number of Bitcoins that have not moved for at least 6 months, dubbed old supply, stands at 14.99 million, worth roughly 370 billion at today's prices. The all-time high is 15 million, Glassnode added, from December. But why is this happening? Well, mostly because no one can trust exchanges. Arkham Intelligent told Decrypt that this is because Bitcoin investors are again focusing on long-term gains. The Bitcoin community has clearly become more long-term orientated, focusing primarily on holding. Other chains, such as Ethereum, have communities building tools and services where coins move significantly more, mostly in pursuit of profits. Glassnode added in the report that there is a turning of the cycle and marked a shift in investor behavior patterns. The Bank for International Settlements yesterday released a report concluding that the investors making profit from buying the cryptocurrency are pro-traders and whales, that is, those who have a lot in it for the long time or have been savvy enough to sell before significant declines. Most Bitcoin buyers, according to the BIS report, entered the market during bull runs when the prices was high, and these investors have largely sold for losses. And that's why most traders lose. Dormant coins are actually become increasingly unlikely to be spent after a 155-day holding period, Glassnode has previously said. Such activity has previously observed in prior bear markets, which potentially signaled a perception that the market is oversold, meaning that it may be poised for a rebound. Earlier this month, an ancient Bitcoin address that had not transacted in over a decade emptied its wallet, potentially to cash out a 120 million% profit of 9.6 million in Bitcoin. I'm surprised they didn't cash out sooner. So onto the charts. So Bitcoin, we crashed really hard today, broke through our volume profile on the daily, but we did come back into it. So we are still in the previous range, and we did not break below the last range that we broke above on. We do have this bearish divergence I told you about yesterday that is highlighting now. Our VWAP is coming down, but it's not coming down too aggressively right now. If it could start to taper up, as it's not didn't come down sharp like here. That's mainly when you have concern, is when you get a sharp move. Over on the 4 hour, we do have a bullish pattern here. A long red candle followed by a doji candle followed by a big long green candle. That is a bullish pattern. Our momentum wave does have a green dot that transferred from the 2 hour. Our VWAP is coming up very strongly as opposed to that daily dip. If you want to look back and compare to the two, you'll kind of see what I mean. Money flow is still coming down, however it's starting to head up. We'll want to see that trend continue. Stochastic's starting to head up, and our RSI's starting to head up overall. So on the 4 hour, we are starting to get some positive bullish signs. If we look at the 2 hour, we could see what could happen. We do have a double green dot, 2 double green dots. This one was invalidated, but then we confirmed a new one. We have a bullish divergence. Our money flow is bullish, but it's coming out. So we'll want to see that trend reverse. Our VWAP is heading up, so that is a positive sign. If we look over at graph, we got a long lower shadow candle here, which those can be a bullish candle, as that represents sellers tried to push the price down and did not manage to suppress price. It is a red one though, so it is still kind of bearish. Money flow's coming up overall, which is still a good sign. Our VWAP's kind of flattening out. It did come down pretty sharply, so we'll want to see that start to head up. It's kind of on an incline, but wouldn't get too excited yet. Our stochastic looks like it wants to make a bullish cross and start to head up, but we'll have to see what the lower time frames are doing. And our RSI is just kind of flat. So our 4 hour might have a pattern here. So we could possibly have an ascending triangle here, which could take us to about 21.9. That would be the highest possible from this break. It could also be somewhat of a rising wedge if you were to connect it a little differently. So it kind of depends on what you're looking at. I try to connect the most points I can without cutting too many candles. Some people are completely against candle there, so we're not cutting any candles except this big extreme. Our momentum wave does have that double green dot here, so that is a positive sign on the 4 hour. Too bad we're not getting that on Bitcoin. That'd be a really bullish sign for Bitcoin. Stochastic's coming up pretty strongly. RSI is heading up pretty strongly. We got a green dot on the RSI as well, so that's a bullish sign there. We bounced right off that neutral zone too, so another good sign. 2 hour, stochastic's just going pretty wild. May correct, or it could just kind of consolidate and stay flat. We'll kind of have to watch it. Had to watch if any bearish divergences form, like back here. We do have a double green dot on the 2 hour. We did have that red dot, kind of same setup as Bitcoin. Our momentum wave is coming up. VWAP's coming up very strongly. RSI is heading up very strongly. We did bounce off that neutral zone, so that's very good. Our money flow is kind of weak. We'll want to see that money flow start to pick up. Otherwise, we may not have the momentum needed to get us out of this bullish pattern. So we take a look over at XRP. got a green candle, even though everything else was red, so XRP did pretty good against the market. Money flow tried to come up, however it might be rejecting. We'll have to watch tomorrow's candle. Momentum waves trying to come up, and our VWAP's trying to reject crossing. Our stochastic looks like it's about to make a bearish cross again, so stochastic's getting kind of choppy. RSI is still kind of flat, trying to inch up, but not gaining too much ground. The 4-hour, our RSI is kind of heading downwards. Stochastic's trying to head up though, so that could give us our RSI enough momentum to start to curl back up. Money flow's coming up, so that's pretty good. VWAP was heading up, kind of flattened out, so that's a little concerning. As it did run up against everything else, it may correct against a little more than everything else tomorrow. We'll kind of have to watch. Over on the 2-hour, our momentum's coming up pretty strong. We got a whole bunch of green dots and red dots, and it just did not know what it wanted to do today. Stochastic's heading up pretty strongly. It was bouncing up and down, but overall headed up strong. Our RSI is heading up as well, and our money flow is heading up. So those are bullish signs on the 2-hour. All these dots are kind of concerning because it's just indecision and kind of choppiness, not sure what we're doing. That's what that kind of says to me. Over on Algo, we broke out of our ascending triangle, it looks like. I tried to come back in, but just barely failed. We'll have to see if we can fall back into it tomorrow. We have a red dot appearing here on the momentum wave, and our momentum is coming down, so that's somewhat of a bearish sign here. Especially since it's on the daily, it holds quite a bit of weight. VWAP's coming down pretty sharply compared to the other coins, so Algo's looking a little more bearish than other coins right now. RSI is kind of flat, and our stochastic has a bearish cross, but it's kind of going flat. Money flow is still coming up, so even though we're getting all these bearish signals, money's still coming into Algo. 4-hour money flow is kind of coming up, kind of flat. It's just up and down. Momentum wave is making a green dot, so that could help invalidate that red dot we have on the daily. Momentum wave is trying to come up, but it's not coming up too strong like Bitcoin and the other coins. VWAP is bullish, but it's not coming up quite as strong. And our stochastic's coming up, but again, not quite as strong. Over on the 2-hour, our stochastic's getting a bit of a bend in it, which could signal that it's starting to already weaken. Money flow is coming out on the 2-hour. Our VWAP is heading up, and we did get that double green dot here as well, and our momentum wave is heading up. Alright, so 2 hours looking decent, but the 4-hour and daily is looking a little worse than some of these other coins. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.